When we attend a concert, listening to enthralling music, do we realize where the sound is coming from? It's more than the voice of the artist or the notes of the instrument. There's a whole system out there working, a whole group of people bringing that music to life. My guest today is the engineer that makes a concert go from good to great. He highlights the experience to give us a memorable moment, especially through our sense of hearing. This is what we're here for, after all, to enjoy a unique audio sensory time like no other. And let's learn and find out more with my extraordinary guest, Eddy Jazra. Hi, Eddy.
Hello.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Same here.
It's an honor for you to join me on this episode today. And you are a sound engineer. I didn't mention it literally in the introduction. Tell us, what is a sound engineer?
Well, a sound engineer is the person who takes care of translating what the artist and the musicians are doing, either on stage or in a studio.
Translating.
Yeah, I mean, it's because, it's if you go back to history, when they used to play music, they used to play it without any microphone or without any
equipment, speakers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was an orchestra that used to sound good in a certain acoustic.
Okay.
And they started, like big theaters historically, are very good acoustic designs.
Okay, so they take into consideration the sound, how it travels.
Like if you sit in the Temple de Bacchus in Baalbek, so you have the natural acoustic.
Oh, okay.
And, in Greece. And
right.
so mainly it was the reproduction of those performances. They were linked directly to the acoustic of the space.
Okay.
So, and what the sound engineer does now is to try to reproduce that fidelity in the best way possible.
So you're telling me in ancient times, like the Acropolis, the Colosseum, they would take into consideration the acoustics?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, really?
And in our acoustic projects these days, we still use formulas and we still use things that they've done like years ago.
Wow, that's incredible.
And it's amazing the way they thought and the way the reproduction of sound back then was amazing. How can they do it?
How did they figure it out?
Science.
Really. Okay, so we know how they started. How did you start? Actually,
I started by being someone who loves music.
Okay.
And I had this passion for, I don't know, it started at a very early age. So I used to love equipments. And
as a teenager?
As a teenager. And I was born in a house where my grandfather, who passed away, actually he passed away. It's a weird story because he was a mechanical person, and he had this hobby of bringing the latest AV equipments, microphones, cameras.
Oh, just as a hobby.
As a hobby, and he did this in the house we have in Brumana. He did a small room.
Yeah.
Where it had a camera, it had a sound mixer back then. We're talking the 70s or in the 70s.
Yeah.
Early 70s. And all sorts of tape machines, reel-to-reel.
Okay, what would you do with that?
I was born in a house where I saw them in the house. So I had this passion of understanding what these equipments are made for.
Yeah, he let you play with them?
And I remember my mom, who passed away this year, used to tell me, attention, ça c'est professionnel. So, so I knew when I was at an early age that, this is a professional equipment.
Okay.
So and back then it was the age of heavy duty stuff.
Yeah.
Like
anything technology was impressive.
And it was heavy, and the speaker was made of wood, and the camera was very heavy, like from steel.
Yeah.
So it started like that, and back then also I had passion. To cut the story short, when I was a teenager, I had passion for radio. So I would have. With a bunch of friends, we did like a local radio station, and we started playing music.
Yeah, did it work?
It worked. I mean, it worked.
Yeah, relatively speaking.
We were playing, but it worked. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you had an audience at the time.
Your
circle, your network kind of audience.
But I mean, it started like that. But I learned a lot, and I still have now some of the stuff I used in the 90s when I opened my own radio station.
Oh yeah.
Because it was the age of vinyl. We used to play
Yeah.
vinyl music.
You were a DJ.
Yes, you can call it DJ. I used to play music on radio.
I mean, this is how you started.
That's
You're
how I-
playing
yeah,
around,
exactly. Okay.
discovering
Yeah,
and things
yeah.
like
And
this.
and beside, because I was learning music,
Yeah,
I started piano. I was 6, 7.
yeah,
So understanding music and listening a lot, because when you're like a DJ, when you play music, you learn a lot because you listen a lot,
right.
and it teaches you how to, because when you mix on vinyl.
Yeah,
Back then it was now today in the digital age it's very easy, like it's all computerized.
Yeah.
But back then you had to listen and like hands on the vinyl,
Right.
understand the beat of the song, and it was and the styles.
right.
So it was it was a
It was a learning experience.
actually what I say to myself, that it drifted me from other stuff that could have been bad for me as a teenager.
Oh, okay.
So I was focused on music, and it took a lot
okay.
of my time, luckily maybe.
Yeah,
Because,
but sometimes the world of music isn't that healthy.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
but for me it was
It was okay.
it was okay, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. So you went from the radio station, your little radio station, to right now you're doing setups for concerts and things like this. Can you
Yeah.
tell us about how you got into that?
Yeah, actually it's a long way, because when I finished studies I went to the UK, and then after that I went to Dubai, where I started to meet people from the field, and I was interested more in the recording field. So I had the chance to have people who invested in a recording studio.
Okay.
So I had someone who came to me like in the late 90s, early 2000, and he said to me, "Look, let's open a recording studio." So back then
okay, that's
I
how you
knew
started.
little,
Right.
but I had to do the quick research, because I had to handle, because he was an investor. That's it.
Right. How
So-
could he trust you or have confidence
it's a very nice story. His son also is a musician, is a rapper.
Okay. Oh, a
Marcel.
rapper.
Yes, and
Okay.
and it started like that. Like he had a basement in Adma, and he said to me, "Let's open a studio. Marcel likes music, and I have
Yeah.
some money."
Oh, okay,
And
that's
so
nice.
I had to teach myself.
What a supportive dad.
Yeah, it was really, yeah. Bless him. He's such
Yeah.
a nice guy. And we started like that. Like we got some equipments. We went to the UK to buy some of the other equipments, because here it was, the beginning of the digital age. So the transformation from analog to digital.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that.
So
Yeah.
it started like that. And also I had the chance to meet Ziad Rahbani at some point,
okay.
and I started working in his recording studio.
Wow, that's a nice
And Ziad
experience.
is beside being like an excellent musician, arranger, producer, he's also a great sound person, and he taught me a lot.
Oh, okay.
And he used to buy everything.
Oh,
So like we buy
that's
one,
amazing to learn from
exactly.
him.
So
yeah.
I used to buy, let's say, one microphone.
Yeah.
He buys everything, 10, 15. He's a freak, so he
Okay.
has passion for sound. So
Yeah.
we related to me and him.
Oh,
to
a
that.
passion for sound as
For
opposed
sound.
to specifically to the
Yeah,
art of
because
music.
if you listen to
Okay.
his work, and when I was young and used to listen to what he does, I was impressed by the way he mixes his music.
Right.
So he was a sound engineer.
So he's kind of like throughout the whole process of the
Absolutely.
music, he's
Like,
there, he's
he's
present.
very famous. Ziad is very famous for his plays.
Yeah. Okay.
And do you know that these plays are a very important sound exercise?
Oh.
Like there are bits of so many nice. He added them together, and
Okay.
people they don't know. But so he was
Right.
he was an amazing sound person. So that's why. So with Ziad and with this new project, I was teaching myself, and it started like that. One thing led to
Yeah.
the other.
And now what do you do exactly?
Well, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I still have my studio.
Yeah.
So I do some music work, some post production work, and I'm also involved in like putting shows together now.
Yeah.
So like I engineer the show, but
Concerts.
concerts. In some cases I'm producing, so I take care of the whole thing.
Okay.
And in some cases I mix the show. Because I'm the sound designer of the show.
Right.
So I take care of, because and if you want we can explain them in details.
Yeah.
Like being a
The
sound,
process of
absolutely.
preparing
in
the
the
whole.
show.
Yeah.
You have the main sound engineer who handles, we call it the front of house.
Okay.
So he sits like in the middle of the venue or the stage, in front of the stage,
Right.
and he mixes all the band, the orchestra,
Throughout the performance.
throughout the performance.
Okay.
And if it's a play,
Live.
he has to handle the
Yeah.
microphones and the band itself.
Okay.
Now, definitely it's not only my work, it's a teamwork.
Yeah.
In a live situation. For example, you have me doing front of house, but you have someone else taking care of monitors. We call him the monitor engineer.
Right. What does the monitor do?
Exactly. Like when you have these musicians sitting together,
Yeah.
they need to hear themselves because, you know.
Oh, they need to hear themselves.
Absolutely, because the front of house engineer mixes for the people, for the audience.
Right. Okay.
As opposed to when the musicians are on stage, they need a certain balance, like to hear themselves. So
you mean like the guitarist has to
for
hear
example,
himself or the
and
whole?
and the others. For example, the guitar needs some drums.
Yeah.
The bass needs to have his amplifier and some of the piano to follow the chords.
Oh, okay.
You know? So this is handled by a monitor engineer.
Okay.
Okay. And he is in direct contact with the singers, actually, because the singers, they need to hear themselves.
Yeah, because their voice is an instrument.
Absolutely. It's either through in-ear systems or on monitors. We could call them wedges on stage.
Oh, I see.
So this is handled by the monitor engineer. Definitely, we coordinate a lot together because it's all connected. Like one mistake can affect I can affect him and he can affect me.
I didn't realize there was so much preparation, not just from the engineering part, but also the artists have to prepare a lot for the concerts.
Absolutely. They rehearse a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, I told you, it's a teamwork. It's when the music is well arranged and written, when they're performing well, when they hear themselves well, so they perform better. So, you know, it's a chain.
Yeah.
And you also have the people which are the broadcast people or the recording people. They handle all these instruments had to be recorded on multi-track systems.
Okay.
Okay, and then this is another.
They're recorded separately.
They recorded separately because when you play that on TV or on social media,
you mentioned that they remix it.
They have to remix exactly for TV and for broadcast purposes.
That's so many details, really, that we don't realize and we don't appreciate it when we see it.
It is too technical, but when you do, the thing is when you're in the process, it's fun to handle it all.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever attend a concert the same way now anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it's the good thing. It's very positive stress because when you're on a show, you have to prepare everything ahead. It's very important to prepare.
How much ahead of time do you need?
In some shows, we stay. For example, when we go on tour, sometimes 8 days of preparation.
Does it depend on how big the concert
Absolutely.
will be?
And the artist, what's the show, how big is the show?
Okay, so all this counts.
Yeah.
Indoor, outdoor.
Indoor, outdoor, absolutely.
Right. Do you prefer indoor or outdoor? Which is easier?
You know, I prefer them all. Indoor, the acoustic has to help. Okay, but usually if we're performing in good theaters, then we're fine. And before you set your speakers, your system, you have to tune the system. And you have some people that just do that they tune the system, they install it, and they tune it to the venue, to the space.
Wow, that's a huge team.
Because sometimes you're in an application when you have like 20,000 people.
Yeah.
So you don't use only one source of speakers. You have to delay other speakers. So they all sound in time.
Right. I'm thinking about how this huge team has to work together. Like it's a kind of like a millisecond kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, we have very talented people, especially in this part of the world. And
it's a happy place to be.
It's a place full of talent.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a heavy kind of job. It's a place where you're going to enjoy it. So
absolutely.
You have a different kind of enthusiasm.
But depending on the people you're working with. It's very important to choose who to work with.
Okay. Did it ever something not work with you?
Luckily,
what happens?
Luckily, never. Never. I mean, when it comes to shows, never.
Right.
In other projects, when it's studio or it could be integration.
Right.
You might, work with some people. You expect them to be, so they turn out to be not as good as you expected.
Okay,
but these things
it happens in all fields. Yeah.
So fine, it's okay. Then you carry on.
How have things changed from when you started? You started in the late 1990s.
Yeah.
Right. So it was very different. It wasn't so technological, or we have to say, it wasn't digital at the time.
It was not digital. It was technological.
Yeah, it wasn't digital.
It was very technological.
It's called analog, so I'm learning new vocabulary here.
Yeah. I mean, because we used to work on analog equipments, like we used to track, for example, music on tape.
Yeah.
And we had limitations because now on the digital feed you can open as much audio track as you want.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you're an analog, you have only 24 tracks to work. So you have to
I even remember the 8-track.
Exactly, the 8-track.
Oh my goodness, this
exactly.
is like horrible.
So you need to no, but I mean, a lot of big hits were made on 8 tracks, on 16 tracks.
I don't think everybody who's listening knows what it is.
It is.
You want to explain what it is?
Yeah, I mean,
it's before the cassette tape.
It was the age of cassette tapes, but I mean, the first thing when you go, because the way things used to be recorded, first of all, they used to put an orchestra in a room and record it directly to a stereo tape.
Okay.
So, like, that's it. You record it. It's called direct to cut.
Yeah.
The performance is on a tape.
Right.
Okay. And then it evolved.
No mistakes.
No, I mean, they can, actually in the studio you can repeat.
Yeah.
You can repeat the performance.
But I mean, it has to be done with no mistakes.
But I mean,
absolutely.
The piece itself cannot be edited.
Right.
And then we moved to the culture of more tracks like 8 and 16. Well, let's say you track the first 4 instruments, let's put it this way.
Right.
And then we do something called the overdub. Like you start adding another instrument, like a solo, a guitar solo, or a saxophone.
This is what you can do now, you're saying?
No. This is the... I'm
even
still
at the
talking
time?
about the 80s and the 70s.
Oh, really?
Okay?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So it was, but we had to do it on a tape. Okay, so you cannot cut or paste. There's no undo on tape. It's a very linear analog, and it sounded so good, by the way. It still sounds, even for me, sometimes much better than digital. Yes.
Okay.
But this is something very technical. So and then this technology evolved and became the digital age, which is instead of using the tape machine.
Yeah.
We started
which is very time consuming.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. But people used to, I mean, it was time consuming, but people, they were more focused on music and notes.
Okay.
As opposed to these days, they're only seeing music on screens. Like if you go to a studio today, it's like playing on a typing machine, and then looking at the screen.
Yeah, you were mentioning to me how, for example, your daughter, she's more visual, so the music is more visual than it is auditory for her.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to see how we can teach her how to be more, how to listen more.
Yeah.
Because it's the age of TikTok. I mean, the good thing of TikTok, because on TikTok they play some old songs.
Yeah.
So like yesterday she went to me with an 80s song.
Oh yeah?
And she
Which
said,
one?
I remember. I don't remember, but I mean, it was an 80s song.
Yeah.
And she said to me, Pop, I know it. Because it was played on TikTok.
Yeah.
So, okay, they listen, but the thing is, they don't listen to the whole piece. They
just that's the thing.
A few measures.
Right? Even I find myself falling into that trap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before, they used to play and listen to the whole piece.
We had to listen.
Exactly.
And they were long songs,
absolutely,
too.
When you used to play it on a cassette or on a vinyl, you had to play it, sit in a space. You had very nice hi-fi systems where you used to sit and concentrate and focus. Yeah. So now I think they don't focus a lot. So they just need to...
What do you prefer, analog or digital?
I mean, it's not about I prefer. It's about I follow what's happening. I mean, definitely in digital, you have so many tools that are very helpful in vocal tuning and in editing. And so if you use it the right way, I like a combination of both. The technology, because at the end of the day, a microphone is still a microphone. You need a wire.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
No, a speaker is a speaker.
Okay.
The digital came more for the medium, like instead of having your file on a tape or on a cassette, let's say, you have it on a hard drive.
Okay.
So that's the big you have more backup options.
Right.
Okay.
What about a concert, like a concert in the 80s and a concert today? Which sounded better?
I mean, even in the live field, they used to we used analog consoles, so it was pure analog.
Okay.
Back in even till 2007, 2008, and then now the consoles. I mean, you need to have a big console and like a big rack of effects, and everything is wired like with wires on an analog. Now in digital, you have one digital console. It's like a mini computer that does it all. And you put a stage rack on stage, and everything is like you can manipulate everything from a software.
Okay.
So definitely, it's. I mean, nowadays in live, we're just digital, 100%.
How do you keep up with the technology? Because equipment is expensive.
They are expensive. some of the equipments are becoming cheaper these days, but I mean, still, like the high end is expensive. Sound equipments are expensive, and for me, I cannot. I mean, I just read, I follow, I work for companies.
Yeah.
So I'm consultant for like so many sound brands. So
how do you keep up personally, like with the knowledge and the new things
it becomes
coming
like a circle, a community.
Okay.
We share things together, and if you like it, if you love it, it becomes a passion. I mean, I'm sure the people in the field, they will understand what I say.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a passion. Like a guitarist, he wants to get the best guitar ever, test all the pedals, you know.
Right.
A sound engineer wants the best speakers, the best monitor, the best software, you know.
What's your favorite music?
You know, this, for me, to be honest, if you want an honest answer, when I just want to disconnect, because imagine sometimes I sit in the studio or I work in a concert, I just listen to classical music.
Okay. You just let yourself go.
This is where I listen. I sit and listen.
You listen?
I listen to classical.
Or you just fade away?
Because it was done by very smart and very talented people. So
yeah, it's incredible what they were able to create and compose.
And you know, music taught me that on earth you have genius.
Yeah.
You have this brain that does, I don't know how they do these things, but I mean, I'm impressed. And especially now, one of the advantages of digital is that you can go to online and find so many classical pieces.
Yeah.
Because before you used to buy CDs and then LPs. Now, no, actually, you have access to a lot of things.
Yeah, when I think of how many different technological steps we went through for like the 8-track, the cassette, the LPs, the CDs, you just reminding me of
demand. It's always
DVDs.
a market demand. And even, you know, it was a deadline. Deadline is very important in shows.
Okay.
And like, you have to be ahead in the technology. And even I always say in classical music, I'm sure these people, because artists, you know, they take their time. But if you talk about the big names like Mozart or Beethoven, I think they had a deadline, because on every Friday, the king wants to listen to a new piece. So they used to work to prepare that. So it's always, I mean, the only thing that motivates you and makes you work is deadline.
Let's go on to another trendy topic. It's a very trendy topic, AI. How is that affecting sound engineering? How is it going to take over a little bit? How is that going to work for the future?
It is affecting positively, because we use AI in so many. At the end of the day, it's a tool.
Okay.
And a human has to use this tool.
Right.
But it is in terms of vocal correction, vocal pitching. It's improving a lot. Like
I just thought about something.
Like yesterday, for example, one of the tools. If you're recording a podcast or like an audiobook, now there's a tool that searches for a certain word. And so it stops at certain words. So you just mention the word, it goes to the file and tell you that's at that at minute you have this word. So so it's a facilitator. Yeah. But again, when it comes to music, there's a human thing that you
because it's creativity.
Absolutely. Like you will always need a piano. You always need an instrument. You always need something to generate sound. So but again, no one can tell, because this technology is going too fast. Yeah,
that's why I'm asking. I mean, how do you keep up with it?
You just have to follow what's new. And every day we're on the internet, so we just download new things, and it's about trial and error. And you know what I do, because now I work with some, like, a good team of like assistants and stuff. So they do researches, and then they show me what about this one. So because when you're younger, you put more time on research.
Yeah, you have the patience to do it.
Because now in this part of the world, Patricia, you have to handle management, work, deals, and like working as engineers. So that's why like you rely more on your team to do that, and then after that, okay, that's a good thing we can use. Let's do that.
So it's not a relatable question, but I mean, how do you deal? Because you're talking about management. How do you manage through the crisis here in Lebanon, one after the other?
Survival mode.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I try to be as positive as possible.
Yeah.
What is happening is not easy.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy country. But also, as I told you, Lebanon is full of talents.
Yeah.
So it's a talented. You have a huge talented people, from
Yeah.
musicians, from artists, from singers,
Actors.
actors as well. So I mean, and we served the whole Middle East. We served the Arab world. We've been serving, most of the big projects that were done all over the GCC and the MENA area were done by Lebanese.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
Why is it so many Lebanese are interested in this field?
first of all, there's the language thing, because we speak very good English and very good Arabic and very
Okay.
good French, so we can connect with the artists / the companies /
Right.
the Arab world, because at the end it's an Arab world.
Yeah.
It looks too technological, but it's an Arab world.
Yeah.
So I think, and we have a lot of opportunities now with what's happening in Saudi Arabia, what's happening in Dubai, what's happening in Qatar.
Yeah, they're
So-
opening up so much in Saudi
So
Arabia
now
right
entertainment I think is booming there.
now. Right.
So I'm sure when things will get stable, and it will get stable,
Yeah.
we have a lot to do.
You also do musicals, not just
Yes,
concerts.
I mean, yeah,
like
yeah.
theater musicals, things like this.
We did so
Because we
many-
didn't mention that. So.
We did that, and I work with very good people.
Yeah, what
And-
kind of celebrities would you work with?
I mean, I don't. I don't want to dig into names because I don't want to forget anyone. But
Right. Anybody iconic? I'm thinking of somebody. Just blurt it. Say it.
Yeah, I think yes. Who do you have in mind?
Fairuz.
Yes.
What was it like working with her?
I worked with Fairuz because of Ziad, first of
Yeah,
all, because I worked with Ziad, and
How do you feel when you see her in
it's
front of
I
you?
cannot explain, because I always try to avoid the subject, but it
Right.
is beyond what you can imagine. It's
Yeah.
she's an amazing artist, and she has discipline, and
Wow.
she's like focused. At 4 in the morning she's focused, and
Yeah.
she does it well, and also she's very well surrounded. I worked with Rima as well, her daughter, who's an amazing producer and
Oh, okay.
an amazing person, a great friend.
Yeah.
And bless her.
Yeah.
Feroz is an icon. So
Yeah, she's our icon.
And
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to Ziad, because it's because of Ziad.
That you got to
And
work
he
with
does
her.
it all. And when
Yeah.
Ziad, he does. We're very.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Well, it's nice to know that we have famous and not so famous talent here in the country that
Yeah,
we
for example, I worked with a great team last year on a project called Chicago. Chicago بالعربي. It was an amazing play.
Yeah.
And it was played all over Lebanon.
It's very popular,
It is
very
it was
successful.
very successful. It was a
Yeah.
very good sound exercise, because and bless her, the producer. I love her, Naila. She's amazing, Naila.
Yeah.
So me and Naila, we clicked, and we made it happen sonically, because it was very difficult. You have all sorts of microphones. They're singing. Everything is live. They're singing live, and you have a band led
Right.
by a great musician, Elio Kalis, a great friend, and he's a big talent.
Yeah.
And the whole combination in a theater, and we did it in a theater in the Casino du Liban, and we did it live
In
Beit
Beit
Eddin.
Yeah.
So it was a very
Very different setup.
it was new to the country, and I think people loved it, because they felt how real. And it was all the cast. Not all the cast were famous people, but they did it so well.
Yeah.
All of them, honestly,
Wow,
all
that's
of them.
nice to know.
In terms of acting, in
Yeah.
terms of the singers,
Yeah.
and
Sometimes
also
when
Roy, who directs the play. Roy is a great talent, and
sometimes when you do things with your heart, it can't but come out so nice.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, you have a huge. It's a teamwork, and they're all involved, and they love what they're doing, and I love this experience. We're about to do something that was cancelled now, postponed, not cancelled, but
Yeah.
hopefully will.
Hopefully soon,
Now we're looking forward, because I want, for example, this is a type of a show where I take my daughter. She's 9, and she attends, and she sees us working, and
Yeah.
it's
It must be impressive
because
for her.
because
Yeah.
a lot of people from like cousins of mine used to work with musicians and artists,
Yeah.
and nightlife. What a life! Working with these people and this type of projects is a blessing, because you have people. They are all successful. They do their work.
I see you doing this with passion and with so much
and this
joy
was
also.
but going back to Fairuz and the Rahabni.
Yeah.
It was that. It was a teamwork. It was. We had a genius called Asir Rahbani, and the Rahbani brothers as well.
Yeah.
So they created the teamwork. They created the format,
Yeah. Well, all their songs are iconic.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
they work. I mean, what I learned from these people, they don't talk, they work.
Okay.
Okay, and so that's why they became that iconic, because they do it right.
Right.
And it's intense. We used to sit like for 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, just working, rehearsing, preparing.
Wow.
And I enjoy every second. I'm grateful to every second.
What a beautiful memory.
Yeah.
Because now things are so easy, everybody can easily get into it. And they don't appreciate, I think.
I think it's not because when you talk technology, because
Yeah.
now some countries are getting the latest stuff, the
Yeah.
new stuff. But what I'm talking about, like this hub of talent and these people, this is Lebanon.
Okay.
You know, and I think we cannot find that because, I mean, it makes you think that we're 6,000 years
yeah.
old. So because really it comes from their heart and they do it so well. And it's not only in the music field, in every field.
Yeah, that's true.
So
whatever they do it with
yeah,
passion.
so that's and I still believe in that, and I'm sure that
just like what you do it with passion.
Hopefully, and
Yeah, you
happy,
do.
I'm yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking and your eyes are glowing, your
Yeah,
smile
so
on your
because,
face, you're saying it,
but
you're
you
happy.
know, it's not easy, Patricia, because you have to sustain also as well.
It doesn't mean it's easy.
It's not easy,
but you're willing to put the effort.
But it always worked, you know. As I told you, one thing leads to the other, and then we're happy.
I have a trick question for you. This has nothing to do with what we were saying.
Whatever you want.
It's an audio or sound question. It's a philosophical one. Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm not that smart, so
we'll see now. If a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Because I heard an answer from an audio engineer's point of view, and I want to see what you think about that. I told you it's a trick question.
If it falls on someone and starts screaming, then you will hear him screaming. So, but usually I can say yes and no, because depending if you're close to the tree or where are you standing.
I'll tell you what his answer was. His answer was because of the vibration. It's the sound. Sound is vibration.
Yeah, absolutely.
More than what we hear. So if nobody's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound, but it's a vibration. So if somebody can hear it, that's when it makes a sound. That's what his answer was. I don't know. I'm not a technical person.
No, I mean, depending on the size of the tree.
Okay.
Okay, depending on where you're standing.
Yeah.
Because definitely you have the spectrum of sound goes from the very low frequencies where these are vibrations. So when there's an earthquake, everything vibrates. So sound is vibration, and you have some higher frequencies that that are high pitches.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that the answer could be yes or no. If you're far, you will not hear it, and if you're close, you will hear. But I mean, I can tell you something. If you see something without hearing it, you will not get scared. As opposed, if you hear a loud sound, it will scare you.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So
we're more scared from the auditory than we are from the visual.
Yeah. If you see a big, ball of fire.
Right.
With no sound, it won't scare you.
Oh, okay.
And then when you hear the sound, you get like all the videos that happened for the unfortunate event of Beirut explosion.
Yeah.
So if you look at the videos, like when they saw the fire, they were just watching, and when
the mushroom cloud.
When they heard the boom, they start screaming, and what happened next.
Okay.
So I believe that it's more of sound is very important. Look at the cinema industry. Yeah,
in horror movies, I was going to say, they use sound a lot too.
Yeah. It's a field by itself, sound design for movies and the way they score the music these days. And you have big names like Hans Zimmer. So definitely it plays a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a bit different from video. Because video, we don't call it video engineering. Video is an art. Cinema is an art. Sound is engineering. Because you have so many things. You have to route cables. You have to understand the system. You have to work with amplifiers. You have to know how to tune. So it's a bit complex, more complex than you.
Okay.
And definitely you have some tools that everyone is using these days. Because now some producers, and you have some very young, talented producers. They just work on a laptop. And you can do it. Yeah.
That's incredible. And just this little space.
Exactly. And so that's an advantage. That's one of the advantages of the digital.
Okay. And they give out a good product, even so.
Some of them, yes.
Some of them.
Not all the time.
Does anybody ever lip sync?
In shows, yes.
Yeah.
Most of the time, yes.
Oh, most of the times
I mean,
do.
if it's
Because it's
if it's,
tiring on the voice and the throat.
if it's
all
for
the time.
TV, yes, but I mean, sometimes no, sometimes the
Oh, okay.
it's dependent. It's
Can
all
we
dependent
tell?
on the artist. If it's well done, no.
Ah, okay.
If it's well done, no. But I mean,
Interesting.
these things depends on the producer and the artist.
Yeah, because it's tiring for an
Because
artist to
it's
sing all the
something I
time.
learned in
Yeah.
this field. I mean, being a sound engineer,
Yeah.
is that you have to put your ego aside. You're at the service of the artist. You're not the artist.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
I thought you were going to
no
say at
ego
the
invo-
audience.
absolutely no ego
Okay.
involved. I mean, if I'm a record producer or producer on a project, this is something else. But when I'm just
Right.
doing sound work,
Yeah.
I just I have to deliver
Good sound.
good sound. That's it.
Yeah. Is there anything else that I missed? Because this is like a new field for me. I'm not a very technical
I mean,
person. I tried to do, actually we mentioned this before. I tried to research about this because I do a little bit of research before coming on the podcast. It was very difficult to find information. Somebody talking
It
about.
is too technical.
Right.
But this field involves. I mean, you have so many disciplines. You have like acoustics and construction work. You have
Okay.
you have the cinema work, which has
Right.
the sound. You have TV that
Yeah.
has sound. Like the main fields are broadcast, which is TV and shows.
Yeah.
You have live sound, which is concerts,
Okay.
and you have studio.
Yeah.
So and in everyone, there's so many things to learn.
What's your favorite?
Honestly, I like them all,
Yeah.
but recently I'm putting more time on shows because it's bigger budgets and bigger productions. But I like them all because also when you work on a show, and then you have to go back to the studio and mix the show for TV, so it has.
So you have
so
to
it's
do
the
it
same,
anyways. Yeah.
And the money, the market and the money these days is because the music industry is not like it used to be before.
Yeah.
During the vinyl age, they used to sell vinyls.
Yeah. Now nobody sells.
So now it's
yeah.
more of the platforms.
Now it's a subscription on Spotify
which
and
to be
Rami.
fair,
Yeah.
are not generating a lot for the artists.
Yeah.
It is generating more money for the platforms like
Yeah.
Rami and Spotify. But the artists, especially the new ones, they
Yeah.
struggle a lot.
So they have to focus on
So
live.
you're putting a lot of time on not a big income, as
Yeah.
opposed to in shows. At least you can maintain.
Right.
So, and I think now we're working more of the. I'm involved in that now. The immersive technology like Atmos, which is when you go to a show, you hear the sound in a 360-degree thing, not only from two speakers.
Wow.
So this is the one of the projects we're working on right now.
So would there be like sound coming from
The ceiling,
above us?
like a number of speakers. So I've designed studios where are
Yeah.
Atmos studios, and now I'm trying to work on a live performance that is in Atmos. So try to export that to.
Yeah. You reminded me of Dolby when we used to go to the
It is
movies
actually Atmos is a Dolby. You have to be Dolby certified. So the rooms are Dolby certified.
You have to be Dolby certified?
I mean, if someone comes to the place.
I didn't know that was a thing.
If you design a place, which is an Atmos studio or an Atmos stage,
Yeah.
Dolby has to come and give a certification.
Oh, okay.
So this is how it happens, and this is what we do.
Okay.
So that's why I'm putting some time, because when you go, the experience in the show will be different.
Yeah.
And really different. You will hear totally different than just listening from two speakers, like two.
We're feeling like we're part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure now because people will, even if a DJ is playing.
Yeah.
When you take.
Oh, that's what we were talking
Exactly.
about before, right?
Yeah, exactly.
DJs.
The DJ,
Yeah.
Because some of the DJs now are doing some very good work, and some
Yeah.
of them are producers.
Okay.
They have
Yeah.
a huge cut of the market, so we have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, because it's different than a live concert.
Then the job of the engineer
Right.
is now to create the Atmos experience in the show.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
DJ plays his content,
Yeah.
and then you work on the Atmos mix and the Atmos.
Okay.
So you start and then
To
you
make
start
it an
creating
immersive,
a
right.
content that is immersive. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. Interesting. So there's a lot to look forward to.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So Eddy, this is really fascinating. You even learned more today, even though we talked before. Every time we talk, I learned something new.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
Because it's too technical. So
No, but it's okay. You have to learn a little bit about everything. And I still have one more question.
Sure.
So what makes the ordinary extraordinary?
I think one word: love.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for having me once again.
Thank you, Eddy, for joining me. I really appreciate you coming. And I hope we'll be doing some stuff later on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Eddy.